Hello everyone, this is Six Path Weeb. Welcome back to another chapter of our alternate Naruto timeline. In this video, we continue an intriguing divergence from canon with what if Naruko joined the Inuzuka clan as a wolf? Part 2. This story explores how identity, instinct, and loyalty would reshape Naruko's destiny if she were raised not by the village, but by the pack, where survival, bonds, and primal strength define one's path. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The content on this channel is created solely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any anime footage used in this video. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. With that said, let's dive straight into the story. 1 month later. The sunlight filtered softly through the windows of the mission assignment room. Team 7 stood together near the center of the room, Naruko, Sasuke, Sakura, and their calm and cheerful sensei, Kakashi. At the front of the room stood the third Hokage, Hiruzen, carefully reviewing a stack of mission papers. Beside him was Inuzuka, who helped organize the assignments and smiled encouragingly at the young ninja. Hiruzen lifted one scroll and spoke kindly. Team 7, we currently have several available missions. Helping families with errands, organizing gardens, assisting at the academy. Sakura suddenly stepped forward, hands on her hips. Please, Hokage-sama. We've trained so hard. We'd really like a mission where we can learn something new and helpful. Naruko nodded thoughtfully. She has a point, Naruko thought. We've come a long way already. Sasuke stayed quiet, arms crossed, focused but clearly listening. Hiruzen chuckled warmly, and several people in the room smiled. I understand your eagerness, he said. Let me explain how missions work. He spoke clearly and patiently.
Missions are ranked by difficulty, D, C, B, A, and S.
D-rank missions are simple and safe. They help new teams learn teamwork and responsibility. C-rank missions involve travel and protecting people from everyday challenges, like wild terrain or unexpected obstacles. B-rank missions are for more experienced ninja and require advanced problem-solving skills. A-rank missions involve important responsibilities that require leadership and cooperation. S-rank missions are extremely rare and are only given to the most experienced ninja. When he finished, Hiruzen looked up. Naruko was leaning casually against the wall, quietly chatting with one of the village guards about training routines. Sasuke stared ahead, focused and serious. Sakura stood straight, determined. Kakashi smiled behind his mask. Kakashi spoke up. I believe Team 7 is ready, Hokage-sama. Who is the client? Hiruzen smiled around his pipe. Patience, Kakashi. Please come in. The door opened, and an elderly man stepped inside. He wore travel clothes, glasses, and carried himself like someone used to hard work. A towel rested around his neck, and he gave the room a cautious look. He blinked at Team 7. These are the ninja assigned to me? Inuzuka cleared his throat gently, but Naruko stepped forward with a friendly grin. Yes, sir. We're Team 7. We'll do our best to help you. The man relaxed a little. My name is Tazuna. I'm a bridge builder. I need help getting home safely so I can finish a bridge that will help my town connect with the rest of the world. Naruko's eyes brightened. That sounds important. We'll make sure you get there safely. Kakashi nodded. You can count on us. Tazuna smiled for the first time. Good. Please meet me at the village gate in 1 hour. After he left, Sakura let out a breath. He's interesting. Kakashi laughed softly. Everyone has their own way of speaking. Hiruzen stepped forward once more. Your mission is a C-rank escort mission. Protect Tazuna on his journey and support him while he completes his work. Learn from the experience and take care of one another. Naruko stood tall, feeling proud. Yes, Hokage-sama. Kakashi clapped his hands lightly. All right, Team 7. Gather your supplies and head to the gate. Together, the team turned toward the door, ready for a new adventure, eager to grow, and determined to work as one. At the village gate. As the great wooden gates of the village opened, Naruko stepped forward with a curious smile. She stretched her arms and looked ahead at the open road. She said thoughtfully. First time going beyond the village walls. I thought it might feel more exciting. Sakura glanced over at her. Really? You don't feel anything special? Naruko laughed softly. Well, I used to sneak near the forest edges, but I could always hear people on the other side. This is the farthest I've ever gone. Me and the pups, too. Tazuna, walking just ahead, muttered, so I'm trusting people who've never left home before. What luck. Kakashi chuckled calmly. No need to worry. They've studied maps, cultures, and travel routes from every nation. They're quite advanced for their age. And if anything unexpected happens, I'm here. Tazuna gave a doubtful huff and kept walking. Along the road. After a while, Sakura spoke up politely. Mr. Tazuna? Your home is the land of waves, right? Yes. Why? He replied shortly. Well, Sakura continued, unfazed, do they have ninja there too? Before Tazuna could answer, Kakashi explained gently, no, the land of waves doesn't have its own ninja village. Some countries do, some don't. In places that do, ninja villages help protect their people and maintain balance. There are 5 great nations, each led by a kage. Sakura listened carefully, thinking about how important responsibility was, not just strength. Kakashi added, this mission is rated low risk. At most, we might encounter travelers with poor intentions, but nothing we can't handle safely. The wolves' warning. As they continued, the group stayed in formation. Sasuke led confidently, Kakashi watched from the back, and Tazuna walked between Naruko and Sakura. Ahead, 4 large wolves moved quietly, Shomi-eye on the path, the others scanning the forest. Suddenly, Shomi-eye let out a sharp warning howl. Naruko raised her hand. Stop. Shomi-eye sensed something unusual up ahead. Everyone, be careful. They proceeded slowly. As they passed a small puddle on the road, 2 figures suddenly appeared, but before anything could happen, the wolves gently surrounded them, blocking their movement without touching them. Kakashi stepped in smoothly and secured the situation without anyone getting hurt. Well done, he said, patting each wolf. Naruko smiled and handed them their treats, which they happily accepted. Truth without harm. These travelers are from another village, Kakashi explained calmly. They were sent to watch the road. One of them sighed. We didn't expect animals that clever. Naruko stepped forward, her voice steady and kind. You don't need to be afraid. Just tell us who asked you to follow us. Relieved by her calm tone, the traveler explained everything openly. Naruko listened carefully, then used her medical knowledge to check that everyone was comfortable and unhurt. Kakashi thanked her. You handled that with care. That's what a true medic does. A choice to continue. Kakashi then spoke privately with Tazuna, who admitted he hadn't shared the full story earlier. Turning to the team, Kakashi asked, what do you think? Naruko smiled. I want to continue. If people need help, especially with health or safety, I want to be there. Sasuke nodded. It's important to finish what we start. Sakura agreed quietly, inspired by both of them. Kakashi smiled. Then it settled. Tazuna looked overwhelmed with gratitude. Across the water. Later, they traveled by boat through thick fog. I can't see anything, Naruko whispered, squinting. The boatman replied calmly, the bridge is just ahead. Welcome to the land of waves. When the bridge appeared, Sakura whispered in awe, it's incredible. The Hidden Watcher. On shore, as they followed a lakeside trail, Misuto, the swiftest wolf, returned. Naruko-chan, she barked softly, someone was watching you. When I got close, they left behind a white rabbit. Kakashi nodded. Good work. Stay alert. The wolves gathered protectively near Naruko. Suddenly, Naruko's sharp hearing caught a sound moving through the air. Down! She called. Everyone ducked safely as an object flew overhead and lodged harmlessly in a tree nearby. A tall figure appeared, standing calmly. Kakashi's expression grew serious. Zabuza Momochi. Zabuza looked amused. So you're the famous Kakashi. Naruko and the others formed a protective circle around Tazuna. Knowledge over conflict. Kakashi addressed his students gently. Stay back. Watch and learn. Sakura whispered, what's the Sharingan? Naruko answered softly so Kakashi could focus. She explained its history as an eye connected to understanding, memory, and emotion, an ability rooted in empathy as much as skill. Zabuza listened and nodded. Well said. But knowledge alone doesn't decide everything. A heavy mist slowly rolled in, covering the lakeside. This place, Zabuza said, is where awareness matters most. The team stood ready, not to fight, but to protect one another through trust, calm thinking, and unity. Naruko of the Leaf, the mist's clever trial. The air around the bridge felt quiet and heavy, Like the world itself was holding its breath. Naruko stayed close to Tazuna, standing calmly with her 3 wolf companions beside her. Otoru and Sho sat alert, while Sen watched the road with steady eyes. Misuto wagged her tail softly, sensing Naruko's focus. Naruko placed a reassuring hand on Tazuna's shoulder. "It's okay," she said gently. "We've got you." Not far away, Sakura moved swiftly, creating a distraction with quick thinking and confidence, while Sasuke darted ahead with sharp precision. Kakashi leaned against a tree nearby, clearly tired from earlier effort, but still smiling beneath his mask. Suddenly, 2 thin senbone needles zipped through the air and lightly tapped Kakashi's neck. He slumped down dramatically, making it look far worse than it was. Naruko's eyes widened, and she rushed to him, kneeling beside her teacher. She checked carefully, calm and focused. "He's okay," Naruko said quietly. "His heartbeat is steady. This feels intentional." Just then, a figure stepped forward from the mist. She wore the traditional attire of a mist hunter ninja, a pinstriped outfit that reached her knees, a soft green haori with white trim, and a brown sash tied neatly around her waist. Light brown sandals matched her outfit, and her hair was tied into a tidy bun, with 2 loose strands framing her face. A white hunter mask rested over her forehead protector, decorated with gentle red markings and the symbol of Kirigakure. Naruko stood and stepped back, allowing the hunter closer. The hunter knelt, lifted Kakashi carefully, and then vanished in a swirl of mist. Naruko blinked. Then her eyes lit with understanding. "That wasn't what it looked like," she said, turning to her teammates. "That technique makes someone appear completely still for a short time. It's an old method meant to avoid danger, not cause harm." Sasuke raised an eyebrow. "So, Kakashi-sensei planned that?" Right on cue, Kakashi stirred and sat up, rubbing the back of his head. "Well spotted, Naruko," he said warmly. "I used a lot of chakra, though." Naruko nodded and knelt beside him, forming a careful hand sign. She placed her hand over his chest, focusing calmly. "This is a chakra sharing technique," she explained. "Just a little boost." A soft glow passed between them, and soon Kakashi stood up, refreshed. "Thanks," he said. "You've grown a lot." They returned to Tazuna's house to rest, the wolves settling in peacefully. Sen wandered into the kitchen, keeping Tsunami company while the others relaxed. Somewhere quiet in the forest. The hunter knelt beside Zabuza, who was resting against a tree, clearly exhausted but safe. Before she could say anything, Zabuza opened one eye and sighed. "That was dramatic, Haku." Haku removed her mask, revealing kind eyes and a calm smile. "It worked, didn't it?" Zabuza chuckled softly. "You're too clever for your own good." "I learned from you," Haku replied gently. She helped him stand, supporting him carefully. "You'll need rest. Even you can't rush recovery." Zabuza nodded. "Let's go home." The next morning, the bridge again. Naruko woke early and gathered her team. "Otoru, Sho, Sen, Misuto," she said, kneeling to their level. "Please stay here and watch the house." The wolves nodded obediently. At the bridge, the group noticed the workers resting safely to the side. A cool mist rolled in, quiet and mysterious. Kakashi adjusted his headband. "Stay alert. Our old friend has returned." Zabuza's voice echoed calmly through the fog. "Good morning. Still protecting your builder, I see." 5 water clones appeared, but before anyone could react, Sasuke stepped forward confidently. "I've been practicing," he said with a small smile. In a blink, he moved, and the clones dissolved into harmless splashes. Zabuza and Haku stepped out of the mist. "Well done," Zabuza said. "You've improved." Haku smiled at Naruko. "Your awareness yesterday was impressive." Naruko smiled back. "We're all learning." Kakashi glanced at Sasuke. "Looks like you've earned a challenge. Just remember, this is about skill, not harm." The mist swirled gently as the lesson began, not as a battle, but as a test of growth, trust, and teamwork. And Naruko stood tall, confident in herself and her friends. Naruko and the lesson of the mist. The cool mist drifted quietly across the clearing as Naruko watched closely from beside Sakura and Tazuna. Her bright eyes followed every movement, eager to learn. This mission had already taught her so much about teamwork and patience. Across the field, Haku moved with graceful speed, spinning lightly like a leaf in the wind. "Impressive," Haku said kindly, her voice calm and focused. Zabuza crossed his arms and gave a small nod. You have the first advantage. Use it wisely. Haku simply replied, right, and began a fast but controlled movement toward Sasuke. Sasuke smiled with confidence and raised his practice kunai, settling into a careful defensive stance. Their exchange was more like a friendly test of skill than a real fight, each movement precise, each step thoughtful. Zabuza watched closely, surprised. So he can match her pace, he thought. That's not easy. Nearby, Kakashi spoke quietly to Naruko and Sakura. Could you two stay with Tazuna for a moment? He said gently. This is a good chance for Sasuke to challenge himself. Naruko nodded immediately. Of course. We've got this, she said with a confident grin, standing a little taller. Protecting others made her feel proud. As Sasuke and Haku continued, they paused briefly, their tools crossed in a balanced standstill. We don't wish to cause trouble, Haku said calmly. Our goal is only to complete our task peacefully. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. Then I'll make sure we all walk away having learned something. Haku smiled slightly and stepped back, forming careful hand signs using just one hand. Sasuke blinked in surprise. She's doing that with one hand? He thought, impressed despite himself. Kakashi observed with approval. That kind of control takes dedication, he thought. Haku finished her technique, and suddenly shimmering ice-like reflections formed around Sasuke, not trapping him, but creating a beautiful training dome that reflected light like glass. Secret technique, crystal mirror practice, Haku announced. Sasuke turned slowly, studying the reflections. Instead of panicking, he focused, remembering his lessons. With a quick step and clever timing, he managed to move past one reflection, tapping Haku lightly on the shoulder as a sign of success. Well done, Haku said warmly, stepping back beside Zabuza. Zabuza let out a quiet laugh. Looks like we're the ones learning today. Kakashi smiled beneath his mask. You see, he said calmly, Naruko, Sasuke, and Sakura each have their strengths. Naruko has a gift for healing and sealing, Sakura excels at planning and puzzles, and Sasuke shines in direct challenges. Together, they grow faster than they realize. Naruko beamed at hearing her name. She clenched her fists with excitement, feeling inspired. I'm going to keep getting better, she thought. For everyone. Meanwhile, at Tazuna's home. Back at the house, Shomiai paused and listened carefully. Something felt unusual. Using a quiet signal system he had practiced many times, he alerted his siblings to stay alert and calm. Senko gently guided Tsunami toward the back garden, while Masuto and Otorikage stood ready, not to fight, but to protect and warn. When two unfamiliar travelers approached the door, Masuto let out a powerful warning call, echoing like a whistle through the air. The sound startled the visitors just enough for everyone to step back and reassess. Seeing the family prepared and united, the strangers quickly realized they were not welcome and left without causing trouble. Shomiai nodded proudly. Good teamwork, he said. Let's check on father and make sure everything is okay. The siblings stayed together, calm and safe, knowing that watching out for one another was their greatest strength. Closing note. Naruko watched the sun dip lower in the sky, feeling hopeful. Today wasn't about winning or losing, it was about learning, cooperation, and believing in yourself. And tomorrow, she knew, she would grow even stronger. Back at the bridge, a wholesome retelling. Strict rule, there is no nudity anywhere in this story. The mist drifted quietly across the bridge as Naruko's eyes widened in surprise. That can't be right, Naruko said softly. The Yuki clan disappeared long ago. Kakashi turned toward her, curious. What is it, Naruko? Naruko took a breath, steadying herself. She's using a chakra-based Kekkei Genkai called Hyotan, or Ice Release. Only those from the Yuki clan, or people born in the land of snow, can do that. What makes the Yuki special is that they don't need existing ice or snow to create it. Sakura's expression filled with concern, and even Kakashi grew thoughtful. Naruko glanced around and asked carefully, Sensei, does everyone have protective masks? Kakashi shook his head gently. No, Naruko. And even if we did, this isn't the place for techniques that might drift beyond the bridge. There are people nearby. Naruko sighed but nodded. You're right. From within a shimmering dome of ice like mirrors, Haku's calm voice echoed. I will now show you my true speed. Kakashi stepped forward, but a sudden presence blocked his way. Zabuza appeared, standing firmly but without aggression. If you move forward, Zabuza said evenly, you face me instead. Let the young ones handle their own challenge. Kakashi paused, then stepped back, trusting his students. Inside the dome, Sasuke dodged glowing needles of light that gently tapped against his clothing, designed to distract rather than harm. After a while, his focus slipped, and his kunai skidded across the ground. Sakura quickly picked it up and tossed it, not to attack, but to redirect attention. Haku caught it easily, surprised but unharmed. Naruko took her chance. She tossed a wooden practice sword toward Kakashi. Sensei. This might help even things out, she called. I know you remember how to use one. Kakashi laughed lightly as he caught it. I usually train with different blades, but I can work with this. Just then, Naruko's two wolf companions, Shomiai and Otoru, appeared at her side. They looked alert but calm. Are they safe? Naruko asked. The wolves nodded. Good. Please help Sensei keep things balanced. I'll help Sasuke from here. The wolves bounded off, moving quickly but carefully. Naruko turned to Sakura. Please stay here. Sakura nodded, trusting her. Naruko formed a series of hand signs and whispered. Kasumi Yusha no Jutsu. Soft, misty illusions of Naruko appeared, reflected gently through the mirrors. Each illusion shimmered like a dream, surrounding the dome without touching anyone. Haku realized Naruko wasn't waiting, she was guiding the situation. When Haku rushed forward, one of Naruko's shadow clones gently blocked her path, causing Haku to stumble backward and lose focus. The mirrors faded away harmlessly. Naruko hurried to Sasuke's side and used a gentle healing technique, easing his fatigue and restoring his strength. Nearby, Kakashi and Zabuza found themselves at a standstill, neither wishing to escalate the situation. Suddenly, slow clapping echoed across the bridge. The mist cleared, revealing Gato and a large group of loud, boastful followers. Well, Gato sneered. Looks like you've all worked yourselves to exhaustion. Zabuza frowned. Gato, explain yourself. Gato waved dismissively. I've decided to end our partnership. You're not worth the trouble anymore. Naruko stepped forward, standing tall and calm. The tension shifted, not toward conflict, but toward clarity. Zabuza exhaled slowly, then looked at Naruko. Young one. Could you help me steady my arm? I'd rather face this standing strong. Naruko nodded and gently used her healing chakra, restoring his strength without harm. What followed wasn't a battle, but a turning point. Gato's followers, seeing his selfishness, chose to leave. Without support, Gato fled, defeated by his own greed rather than force. The bridge grew quiet again. Sasuke stood steadier now. Sakura smiled with relief. Kakashi rested his sword at his side. Naruko looked out over the bridge, feeling proud, not because she fought, but because she protected, healed, and helped others choose a better path. And that made all the difference. Back at the Leaf Village. Back in the Leaf Village, Team 7 was finally released to head home. Naruko waved goodbye to her teammates, excitement bubbling in her chest. With her wolf companions trotting happily beside her, she made her way straight toward the Inuzuka compound. She could already imagine the surprised faces of Kiba, Hana, and Sume when she told them all about her recent mission in the Land of Waves. At the entrance to the clan head's house, Naruko politely removed her sandals before stepping inside. Senko and Misuto padded along behind her, while Otoru and Shomiai headed off toward the river to cool their paws. As soon as Naruko reached the lounge, she was suddenly wrapped up in a warm hug. Hana had rushed over with a big smile, nearly knocking Naruko off balance. Sume laughed from the couch, clearly amused by Naruko's startled expression, while Kiba grinned, happy to see his friend back safely. Once everyone settled down, Naruko began sharing her story. She talked about teamwork, helping others, and the lessons she learned along the way. She spoke with enthusiasm, using her hands as she explained each moment. By the time she finished, more than an hour later, all three Inuzuka listeners were staring at her in amazement. Their eyes were wide, and their mouths hung open. Naruko couldn't hold it in anymore. She burst out laughing, joined by Senko and Misuto, who wagged their tails proudly. Kiba suddenly jumped to his feet. That's it. I'm training harder than ever, he declared. I'll be just as strong as you someday, Naruko. Sume gave Naruko a firm, proud hug before heading out, and Hana smiled warmly. Let's hang out again soon, Hana said, her tone friendly and sincere. Naruko checked the time and nodded. Before going home, she stopped by her mother's memorial to say hello and quietly share everything she had experienced. It made her feel peaceful. Dash. 1 week later. A week later, Naruko was walking along the river with her wolves after completing a simple D-rank mission. She had helped an elderly farmer and even used her medical skills to help his granddaughter feel better. It felt good to make a difference. As they walked, Naruko paused. Her sharp senses noticed something unusual, an unfamiliar but gentle scent carried on the breeze. Curious, she followed it, her companion staying close. Soon, they reached a sunny clearing near the edge of the forest. Standing there were Hana and a few other Inuzuka clan members, practicing training exercises together. "Oh. Naruko." Hana called, relaxing when she recognized her friend. Naruko smiled brightly. "I didn't mean to interrupt. I just followed something interesting." Hana laughed. "Then you're right on time. We were about to do some friendly sparring practice. Want to join?" Naruko thought for a moment, then nodded. "Sure. As long as it's just for learning and fun." They agreed on simple rules: no one would get hurt, no tricks, and the goal was balance and skill, not winning. The spar was quick and light-hearted, more like a dance of movement and teamwork than a contest. Both girls learned from each other, laughing whenever they stumbled or missed a step. When it was over, they sat by the river, chatting while the wolves splashed happily nearby. Hana smiled. "You've really grown, Naruko. Not just stronger, but kinder, too." Naruko felt her cheeks warm, but she smiled back. "I'm still learning. But I'm glad I have friends like you." The sun dipped lower in the sky, and the clearing filled with calm, happy sounds. It was another good day in the Leaf Village, one built on trust, friendship, and moving forward together. Naruko and the promise of the Wolf Clan. Naruko stood quietly beneath the evening sky, feeling thankful for the calm moment she shared with Hana. Words felt unnecessary, so instead Naruko offered a warm, respectful hug, something she had wanted to do for a long time. Hana smiled brightly and returned the hug, resting her head against Naruko's shoulder. It was a simple moment of comfort and trust, and both of them felt peaceful. After a short while, they stepped back, still smiling. Naruko gently helped Hana clean a few small scrapes she had gotten earlier while training, using careful hands and a kind expression. When she was finished, Naruko asked softly, "So, what do you think we should tell your mother?" Hana thought for a moment, then smiled with confidence. "We should just be honest. You're an important leader, and we trust each other. Mum will understand." Naruko nodded. "The truth, then." Hand in hand, they walked together toward the Wolf Clan compound. The village was quiet, and the evening lanterns glowed warmly. When they reached Sume's office, Hana stepped forward. "Hi, Mum. We have something important to share." Sume listened carefully as Hana explained how Naruko had helped her earlier that day, how they had talked, trained together, and chosen to support one another as partners who wanted to protect their clans and grow stronger together. Sume smiled proudly. "It seems the Wolf Clan has gained a wonderful leader and friend," she said, turning to Naruko. "Congratulations. I have something special for you." She handed Naruko a set of keys. "This is land I prepared long ago, a place where wolves and people can live in harmony." Naruko bowed respectfully. "Thank you. May our clans always stand together as family." Dash. A new home. Their new home was a wide, single-story house built with sturdy stone and smooth wood. Nearby were gentle hills, a quiet cave for the wolves, shady trees, and a clear pond filled with fish. It felt peaceful and welcoming. Naruko smiled at the wolves. "Why don't you explore the grounds with our friends while Hana and I look inside?" The wolves happily ran off, tails wagging. Inside, the house was warm and cozy, with a large living room, a kitchen full of light, several bedrooms, and a quiet study filled with books. Everything felt full of promise. Hana sat beside Naruko and said softly, "This might be the happiest day of my life." Naruko smiled, feeling grateful and a little amazed herself. Later, they laughed together, joking about how surprised Kiba would be when he returned from his mission. Dash. A call in the night. That night, as the house grew quiet, Naruko heard a distant, worried howl. She listened carefully and sat up. Hana woke as well. "That doesn't sound like our wolves," she said. Naruko nodded. "It sounds like someone needs help." She quickly got ready and gently called to the wolves. Together, they followed the sound, not to fight, but to help. Soon they found a group of lost wolf cubs who had wandered too far from their den. Naruko calmly guided them back, her voice steady and kind. The wolves worked together, keeping the cubs safe until they were reunited with their family. Dash. Family and trust. Meanwhile, Hana went to tell her mother what was happening. Sume was already awake and ready to assist, proud of how responsibly Naruko and Hana handled the situation. By morning, everyone was safe, and the forest was peaceful again. Naruko stood outside their new home, watching the sun rise, knowing this was just the beginning, a life built on trust, kindness, and unity. And somewhere nearby, the wolves rested happily, knowing they were home. Herb emoji, Naruko of the Howling Wolves, herb emoji. Strict rule, there is no nudity anywhere in this story. Everyone is fully and appropriately clothed at all times. Dash. Hana hurried through the moonlit paths of the clan grounds, her expression serious but calm. Naruko and her wolves went out earlier, she said. They heard about strangers disturbing wolf cubs in the forest. I thought we should know, so we can send help if needed. Sume nodded firmly and sprinted forward, Kuromaru racing beside her. When they reached the center of the compound, Kuromaru released a loud bark that echoed through the night. Clan members quickly gathered with their animal partners. We move together, Sume said clearly. No fighting. We protect and guide. The group followed Naruko's trail through the trees. Not long after, they reached a quiet clearing. What they saw made them stop in surprise. A large group of wolves stood together, calmly surrounding a handful of startled outsiders who had clearly wandered somewhere they did not belong. The wolves moved with coordination, not aggression, gently herding the strangers away from the den area and back toward the forest path. At the center stood a golden wolf, tall and radiant beneath the moon. With a soft glow, the golden wolf transformed into Naruko, her expression confident and kind. She was surrounded by her closest wolf companions, Shomei, Senko, Odorakage, and Misujuashi. The wild wolves lowered their heads respectfully. From among them stepped a strong gray wolf. I am Akira, he said, his voice steady. Leader of this pack. Thank you for protecting our cubs. You showed wisdom instead of anger. Naruko smiled warmly. I'm Naruko Okami. All I ask is this, join our lands. Live safely with us. Let our clans grow together. Akira glanced at his mate, Honiaaka, who nudged him gently and nodded. We accept, Akira said. We will also share word with other packs, that peace lives here. When the group returned home, the new wolves explored their den while the clan prepared resting spaces. Cubs were carried carefully, wrapped in soft cloths and leaves. That night, the wolves rested near the fire, and Naruko slept peacefully beside Hana, knowing their family had grown. Dash. Seedling emoji, 2 weeks later, in the village, seedling emoji. Naruko walked through town with Hana and Shomei, smiling brightly. I still can't believe we're entering the Chunin exams, Naruko said, eyes wide with excitement. Sensei really believes in us. You've earned it, Hana replied proudly. Leadership isn't just strength, it's heart. Suddenly, they heard a shout around the corner. Naruko and Hana rushed over and found a small group of kids arguing. A visiting ninja team stood nearby, surprised by the tension. One of the visitors, a tall boy, looked embarrassed, while a girl with sandy hair quickly stepped forward. Hey, the girl said firmly. Let's calm down. No one's hurt. Naruko stepped between them, hands raised gently. No one needs to be scared, she said. Let's talk. Her wolves sat calmly at her sides, tail swishing. The atmosphere softened almost instantly. Konohamaru blinked in surprise. She brought wolves. But they're nice. The visiting team relaxed, and the misunderstanding was cleared up with apologies and laughter. As they parted ways, the sandy-haired girl smiled at Naruko. You're a good leader. Naruko grinned. I just try to do the right thing. Shomei let out a happy howl, and the wolves echoed him, not in battle, but in harmony. Recognizing the person, Sakura smiled at seeing her teammate Naruko. You in the black, let Konohamaru-kun go, Naruko said, glaring at Kankuro, who quickly dropped Konohamaru. The little boy scurried behind Udon and Moegi, hiding behind them. Tamari felt her cheeks warm. She thought to herself, local cutie number 1. Hana, noticing Tamari's glance at Naruko, leaned closer and whispered playfully, stop looking at my friend like that, though her tone was more teasing than mean. Kankuro looked annoyed at Naruko. You know, Sand Ninja, you're lucky our villages are allies, Naruko said firmly, her sapphire eyes gleaming. If the Hokage knew what you were planning for his grandson, it might not end well for you. Sakura sighed, shaking her head. You're in trouble now, loser. That's Naruko Uzumaki Okami, head of the Okami clan. Brilliant. Another wimp to annoy me, Kankuro muttered. Naruko fixed him with a steady gaze. Her eyes shone like polished sapphires, and Kankuro felt a shiver run down his spine. You have one last chance to return to your hotel before the Chunin exams in a week. Ignoring the warning, Kankuro said, Hey, you're the kind of kid I can't stand, lots of talk, no bite. He yanked Crow off his back, making Temari gasp. Naruko growled softly, and her partner, Shomi-ai, joined in. You don't understand what you're getting into. Listen carefully before you put yourself or anyone else in danger. What kind of brother would endanger his sister? Kankuro hesitated, glancing at Temari being held, then reluctantly put Crow back on his back. Naruko sniffed the air, her sharp gaze rising to the trees. Sasuke! Sand ninja, get out of the tree. Sasuke landed beside Sakura with a smirk. The sand ninja swirled around, looking worried. Kankuro, back off, Gaara said firmly. Kankuro looked sheepish. Hey! Gaara! Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office. Sitting in a grand, comfortable chair, Hiruzen Sarutobi looked over the assembled ninja. I have summoned you for an important purpose, he said. Kakashi tilted his head. So soon? I thought we'd have more time, he said quietly. Asuma added, the foreign shinobi have been notified. This event will involve multiple lands. Kurenai asked, and when does it start? Hiruzen answered, in 1 week. I gave you all a heads up months ago. That's short notice, muttered Kakashi, though he had already prepared his team. Hiruzen puffed on his pipe and continued, take heed. 1 day from now, the first day of August, all Genin will be gathered and tested. Only the very best will advance to Chunin. Back with Naruko. Gaara glared at Kankuro, who stammered excuses until Gaara's warning silenced him. Then he turned to Naruko, staring intently. Naruko stared right back, unflinching. I'm sorry for any trouble he caused, Gaara said finally. Naruko's fox companion, Kyubi, whispered into her mind, surprising her. Chibi. Naruko thought, I see the loneliness and restless energy in your eyes. Finally, a voice I can hear. Kyubi continued, Shukaku has that effect on people. Strange, because she is usually calm and kind. I may have to lend you some chakra, though I am not happy about it. Gaara thought, he stopped Kankuro with mere words. This is someone to watch closely. Turning, he said, let's go. We've wasted enough time here. Naruko leapt down gracefully beside Hana. You with the red hair, what's your name? I am Gaara, Gaara of the desert. And you? Naruko smirked, puffing out her chest. Naruko Uzumaki Okami. She patted Shomi-ai on the head, then looked at Konohamaru. Go home, Konohamaru-kun, and take your friends with you. Konohamaru nodded and left, his friends in tow. Naruko and Hana shared a thought, this is going to be interesting. Nearby, 3 sound Genin watched from a tree. What do you think, Dosu? Asked one. The usual weaklings, Dosu replied. But the kid with the wolf and that desert kid. We should watch them closely. Back with the Jonin. Hiruzen called forward the rookie senseis. Kakashi, Kushina, Kurenai, and Asuma stepped forward. One by one, tell us who you nominate, Hiruzen instructed. Kakashi said, Team 7, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruko Uzumaki Okami. Kurenai nominated Team 8, Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame. Asuma nominated Team 10, Choji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka. The room buzzed with whispers. Iruka jumped in, worried. They're barely ready. These exams could overwhelm them. Kakashi replied calmly, I was half their age when I became Chunin. A little challenge will help them grow, not harm them. Iruka opened his mouth to argue, but Hiruzen intervened. Iruka, they have been nominated. There is nothing to stop this now. Later that day, at the usual Team 7 meeting area, Kakashi handed each of them a Chunin exam application. Somewhere in the forest. A green-clad kid with orange leg warmers and a wild bowl cut muttered, Did you hear? First year Genin at the exams. That hasn't happened in 5 years. A girl in a pink outfit with panda bun hair said, Not surprising. Considering who they are. The pale-eyed boy nodded, Interesting. Either way, we'll win, the girl said confidently, tossing a kunai to her teammate. Dear YouTube family. This is all for now. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel to stay updated with more content. Your support means everything and keeps the journey going. Thank you for watching and being part of this adventure. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.